Tonight, a major development put on pause.
This is probably one of the most significant issues that impact the future of our community that we've dealt with in a long time.
The region under pressure amid a water capacity crisis.
The general feeling is it's an extremely serious issue.
The questions and concerns. Also, a rash of vape store robberies.
This has expanded to a multiple police service investigation.
Across southern Ontario.
Many other jurisdictions and areas were being affected by this.
The 3 men charged and why police believe there may be more suspects connected to the break-ins. And restaurants rethink their strategies.
We cut back on our staff and we do skeleton staff in the wintertime.
After thousands of eateries shut down.
Probably the 2 biggest factors, though, are the increase in labor costs and the increase in the cost of food.
How local establishments are making sure they're not next. Good evening. Concern is growing in the region of Waterloo, where the housing crisis is being met head-on by a water crisis. According to the region, there is not enough water capacity to support our current growth trajectory. And now those who build the homes are raising the alarm. CTV's Jeff Pickle joins us live with more on this. And Jeff, there is a fear this could result in housing projects being delayed or denied entirely.
Well, Leanne, just yesterday, the City of Kitchener approved a massive 900-plus unit development on Cortlandt Avenue, but it came with a holding provision saying it wouldn't get the final go-ahead until the region figures out the water situation. And local developers say the region needs to act immediately.
It's a massive housing development proposed for Cortlandt Avenue in Kitchener. 977 units in jeopardy due to water capacity issues in the region of Waterloo.
This is probably one of the most significant issues that impact the future of our community that we've dealt with in a long time.
Last year, the region discovered its primary pumping station for Kitchener, Waterloo, parts of Cambridge, and the townships does not have the capacity to meet the region's growth. And the report found the region should not approve more growth until a solution is found.
That impacted planning applications that staff have been processing and dealing with since.
To keep the housing pipeline from stalling, the City of Kitchener approved the Cortlandt Avenue project, but with a holding provision.
It allowed the city to fulfill its obligations in terms of considering the planning applications that were before them and to do it in a timely manner, but to also put in a condition that doesn't allow the development to proceed until the outstanding water issues are dealt with the region.
A stopgap measure that is not the answer developers are looking for.
The general feeling is it's an extremely serious issue. And
Joseph Pupolo is a developer not involved with the Cortlandt Avenue project. He spoke with Regional Council today about the urgency of the situation.
I think the next 20 to 30 days are going to be really, really critical in the interface between industry as well as lower tier municipalities as well as the regional staff.
His concern, developers avoiding the region of Waterloo and disrupting the housing market.
The pipeline for new housing is years and years. It takes a lot of time in order to line up all the necessary things, whether it be financing, construction approvals.
Pupolo and local developers say the need for clear information is the first step.
The fear of the unknown will lead to unintended consequences. So we hope a very tight working relationship with lower tier and upper tier government will allow us to come up with solutions, and there are solutions to be had.
Today, Pupolo and over a dozen other local developers proposed to form a task force to work with regional officials to address the water crisis. They say the region really can't afford to move slowly on this, and they are hopeful their message is heard. Leanne?
Of course, the story we continue to follow. Jeff, thanks for the latest on this. CTV's Jeff Pickle. A mild start to the week, but precipitation will move in eventually. CTV's Ashley Bacon is back in studio with us with a first look at the forecast. Ash, we saw a little bit of rain out there today. I know you mentioned to me earlier that one of our colleagues actually said she stepped outside and saw ice pellets.
That's right, Leanne. It's been sort of a mixed bag over the last few days, and that's because we've been hovering right around the freezing mark. Now, that's all going to change tomorrow, but for the next 24 hours or so, enjoy the above seasonal temperatures as they continue into tonight. Let's take a look at our radar, give you an idea of the band of precipitation that we're moving through the region as we speak. You can see a lot of green there, and that's because we're above zero at the moment. That's going to continue to be rainfall, bordering on that freezing rain and then sleet through the evening. By tomorrow, however, we're looking at some more flurry conditions. Right now in Waterloo region, sitting at a very comfortable 2 degrees. This time of year, -3 is our normal. Winds from the south-southwest at 35 kilometers an hour. So a little bit windy out there, Leanne, so feeling a little cooler than that 2 degrees. But man, it's going to feel a lot colder than that a little later in the week, starting tomorrow night. I'll have those details coming up with your full weather forecast a little later in the show.
Okay, Ash, sounds good. We will take this while it lasts. A second-degree murder and attempted murder charge laid against a Cambridge man in a November 2024 shooting in that city have been withdrawn. The Crown saying that after reviewing the evidence, they would not be able to disprove that the man was acting in self-defense. CTV's Krista Simpson joins us live with these details. Krista.
Leanne, the shooting happened in November 2024, and it took nearly a year to lay the charges. But just 6 weeks later, they were withdrawn in court.
It was the evening of November 27, 2024, when police were called to a double shooting at this complex on Lena Crescent in Cambridge. A 40-year-old man died at the scene, another man taken to hospital with injuries described as serious. Nearly a year later, police announced they had laid charges of second-degree murder and attempted murder against 37-year-old Charles Barnes Fountain. But weeks later, at a court appearance in December, the charges were withdrawn. In a brief summary provided to the court, the Crown says that Barnes Fountain was at the residence with 2 other people when the 2 men arrived. A physical altercation with Barnes Fountain broke out, and sometime during or after, the 2 men were shot. The man who died described as a beloved husband and father. The Crown has carefully reviewed all the evidence in this case and has determined there is no reasonable prospect of conviction with respect to Mr. Charles Barnes Fountain. Alana Fidak-Tarnopolsky told court, specifically, there is an air of reality to the defense of self-defense that cannot be disproven beyond a reasonable doubt. The criminal charges were withdrawn at the Crown's request, but Barnes Fountain is subject to a peace bond in place for 10 years that requires him to not have contact with or be within 200 meters of a number of people, including family members of the man who died and the second man who was shot. He also cannot possess any weapons.
Barnes Fountain's lawyer said he agreed to the peace bond and is not admitting any civil or criminal liability. Justice Melanie Sapinka noted that failing to follow the terms of the peace bond is a criminal offense and could result in a jail sentence. Leanne.
Okay, Krista, thank you. CTV's Krista Simpson. 3 people were taken to hospital after fire broke out at a Waterloo apartment building last night. Crews were called to Lincoln Road near Ellis Crescent North around 11:15 p.m. The building offers supportive housing for women, gender diverse people, and their families. The program is geared towards those struggling with homelessness. At least 8 people were displaced by the fire. 3 were treated at hospital for smoke inhalation. The damage has been pegged at $500,000, and the cause of the fire remains under investigation. An investigation that began in October has led to the arrest of 3 men. They are suspected in more than 15 break-and-enters across southern Ontario, including 5 in the region of Waterloo. Let's go to CTV's Colton Weens for more on this. Colton, these break-ins mainly targeted vape stores in Ontario.
Yeah, that's right, Leanne. Police say multiple stores in Kitchener were targeted between October 2025 and January this year, adding the men are linked to similar incidents in Guelph, Hamilton, London, and Niagara. Police sharing this security video from some of the vape store break-ins showing a chain being used to pull a metal grate from the front door of a business. On January 5th, search warrants were carried out at a home and storage unit in Brampton. Police arrested one of the suspects and seized unspecified stolen property. A second suspect was arrested by Peel Regional Police later that day, where officers also found a vehicle packed with stolen merchandise. A few days later, a third suspect was caught in a stolen vehicle and arrested by members of the Guelph Police. A 31-year-old man, a 30-year-old man, and a 32-year-old man, all from Brampton, face multiple charges. Police also continue to investigate to see if there are any more suspects.
Has expanded to a multiple police service investigation, and the investigation is ongoing at this time as well, and we are expecting to have more information come in as a result. If the information leads down that hole, then obviously we will be making more arrests. It's just an ongoing investigation at this time, and we'll be making updates as we go.
Now, police expect to lay additional charges against the three men as investigations continue in other jurisdictions. Leanne.
Okay, Colton, thank you for that. CTV's Colton Weens joining us live. Representatives from all three levels of government gathered in Peel Region to address the rising trend of extortion-related crimes. The one-day summit meant to find solutions to violent incidents that have affected individuals and businesses across the GTA. CTV's John Musselman has those details.
Surveillance video appears to show a man light something in his hand on fire before he tosses it toward a red heavy tow truck. Flames immediately engulfed the tires of that truck and quickly spread to surrounding vehicles, including another heavy tow truck. But the video doesn't show a second suspect.
Both individuals were seen pouring gasoline on and around the heavy tow trucks.
Harnek Sahoda has owned the black tow truck for 7 years. It's the only one he has.
It's very bad for towing business.
The latest operator to have his truck set on fire along this stretch of Rutherford Road this month.
I'm very angry. I was expecting that because I always park my truck there. I never had any issue with anyone.
While they don't have any evidence that the incidents are related, police say they're looking into a possible connection.
Given the fact that it is tow trucks that were targeted, the timing and the location makes our investigators look at comparisons between the two.
This morning's fire at Rutherford and Norenda started at 3:15 a.m. The one earlier this month at Rutherford and Glidden began at 3:30. The latest tow truck set ablaze in southern Ontario in recent years, targeted in an alleged tow truck turf war.
To be honest, even last night, I had a dream that someone, fired on my tow truck.
Tow truck operators are scared, while others who aren't even in the business are also being impacted.
There is no my fault.
Harded owns a white food delivery truck that was involved in this morning's fire.
See, the box is totally damaged, so minimum $30,000-$40,000. And even like for 3-4 weeks, I'm out of my job. I have only one truck.
Meanwhile, Jesse Singh is the mechanic who was working on the red tow truck that was set ablaze.
We feel bad, man. I mean, it's bad in Brampton. I don't know what's going on right now.
The investigations continue.
And our apologies. That was Janice Golding reporting on the tow trucks being torched in Brampton overnight. The accused money man for a drug trafficking organization connected to former Olympian Ryan Wedding bought a $4 million home in the GTA shortly before he was arrested late last year. That was one of the facts that emerged in testimony today at the bail hearing of Roland Sokolowski, accused of being a money launderer for Wedding through his luxury brokerage Diamond Czar based out of a UPS mailbox in Thornhill. The court heard he declared a personal income of $0 for the past few years. Ontario does not want cheap Chinese electric vehicles in the market, but neither does Donald Trump. The federal government is very sensitive to the fact and decisions made on Prime Minister Carney's Beijing trip could impact the all-important upcoming talks of the Canada-US-Mexico Free Trade Agreement. CTV's Abigail Beeman reports.
The U.S. president toured a Ford factory close to our border in Detroit and gave upcoming CUSMA trade talks a shrug.
It's irrelevant to me. Canada would love it. Canada wants it. They need it. because we don't need Canada product. That's the thing. You know, I want to be a nice person, but we don't need. I want to build the cars here, not in Canada.
Donald Trump also doesn't want cheap Chinese EVs.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And flanked by Michigan lawmakers, Ontario Premier Doug Ford urged Mark Carney not to back down on Canada's 100% tariff on them during his trip to China.
It would not be good for Ontario and Canada, and it sure the heck wouldn't be good for the U.S., and it wouldn't be good when it comes to negotiating with President Trump.
Canadian government sources say to expect some progress on punishing canola tariffs, which China slapped on in retaliation for the EVs.
They've been absolutely devastating to the industry. Well, we've lost over $1 billion Canada-wide. Frankly, just even for my farm, I'm just under $100,000 myself, and that really hurts.
But with Saskatchewan's premier now joining for some Beijing meetings.
Would you take Mo if you didn't expect some relief, some schedule of lower tariffs on canola? Probably not.
Many are wondering if that means EV concessions are on the table.
China's being very savvy in the way that it's picked areas to tariff to pit one region of the country against another. I think premiers have been very restrained in terms of their approach on this, in terms of not trying to divide the country against itself.
In a briefing ahead of the Prime Minister's China trip, federal government sources spoke of addressing trade irritants on both sides systematically, but wouldn't share details on conversations around canola or EVs. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
A reminder to start your day in the know with our CTV News Kitchener newsletter. Get the best local content from CTV News straight to your inbox. We've got today's top stories, the latest weather forecast, and must-see videos. It's all in one place. You can sign up now at ctvnewskitchener.ca. A Kitchener parking garage sparking debate. Still ahead on CTV News. Why some say the structure should receive a heritage designation, and the reason others aren't on board. Karis Matt brings us those details coming up.
Well, you might want to keep your umbrellas handy for the next few hours as we're expecting drizzle overnight, but that is looking to change into flurries. I'll have those details on when the change in temperature is expected coming up.
Download the CTV News app and stay on top of local stories as they unfold.
We go to a dramatic scene unfolding.
Customize your feed and watch live wherever you are. ctvkitchener.ca, your home for news. When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
A downtown Kitchener parking garage has sparked debate over whether it should receive a heritage designation. The spiral ramp and its architectural design have committee members torn. CTV's Karis Mapp explains.
To be honest, I was a little perplexed or taken aback when I saw that this was coming.
There was mixed reaction at Kitchener's most recent Heritage Committee meeting surrounding the Duke and Ontario Streets parking garage.
I do not think that a large multi-story parkade in downtown Kitchener is worthy of a heritage designation, and I would not want to see that protected.
Others arguing that the structure should receive the designation.
I can see how the initial reaction would be that a parking garage may not be a good candidate for designation. But in this case, I think that there is a really exceptional element to this building that gives it extraordinary merit.
In this case, the element is the helix-shaped ramp.
That large spiral ramp that comes up on the outside of the building, and it's placed so prominently at the front of the building.
A professor from the University of Waterloo School of Architecture calls the ramp an ambitious engineering design.
It had an aesthetic intention. It did want to introduce a kind of dynamic and fluid and almost magical form. I mean, the cantilevers on that thing are amazing.
The lot first opened in 1968 as an attachment to Gaudi's department store, which is now the museum.
It was historically, of course, part of the attempt to adjust the situation in downtown Kitchener to compensate for the development of the suburbs.
An Audi commercial was even filmed there in 2008. The design pushed the limits of poured concrete, an emerging trend loosely tied to brutalism architecture.
The main body of the parking garage is essentially concrete columns, concrete decks, and concrete balustrades.
The Heritage Committee voted in favor of the parkade receiving the designation, but many still torn on the topic.
It is a really significant piece of the history of our downtown. That doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be preserved forever, but I also think the conversation is an interesting one.
Karis Mapp, CTV News, Kitchener.
Medical tourism is a $100 billion industry worldwide, and more Canadians looking to reduce wait times and costs are jumping on the bandwagon. But what happens when things don't go smoothly? Tonight, in part one of a three-part series, CTV's Pauline Chan looks at how one woman's desire for cosmetic changes left her fighting for her life in a foreign country.
She was a 52-year-old business owner and mother of 4 who also had abdominal surgery to remove a massive tumor.
My dream was to have a mummy makeover.
A tummy tuck and breast lift. But after her medical excursion to Costa Rica last fall, Nicole Grigorov is facing a very different future from what she expected for the new year.
So I have to learn how to walk. I had to learn how to use my arms. I have to learn how to do everything.
Sepsis resulted in the loss of her fingers and toes, but Nicole was just one of the thousands of Canadians who went overseas last year for medical or cosmetic surgery. The U.S.-based Medical Tourism Association says there's been a 40% jump last year in Canadians going abroad for anything from faster hip replacements to nose jobs.
It's estimated that it's 432,000. And that's, data we have from hospitals, governments in some of the destination countries.
I just went online and did a ton of research. So I interviewed some doctors in Canada. Canada wasn't out of the question.
But in the end, she chose a clinic in Costa Rica.
The main driving factor is the cost. The cost of care in those countries is considerably lower. The overhead expense, the time in an operating room, the medications cost less there.
The cost for Costa Rica, about $20,000 plus flights.
So in Canada, it would have probably been 25% more.
But Nicole doesn't recall waking up at the clinic where her surgery was done.
Nicole Grigorov spent some 3 weeks in a coma in Costa Rica. Her organs shut down, and when she finally awoke, her next challenge was trying to get back to Canada.
Close friend Rod Ponkin stepped in with $85,000 for an air ambulance, and that wasn't the only hurdle.
There's a lot of moving parts because the air ambulance, the doctor and their team had to correspond with Niagara doctors, and they had to consult.
It was a 2-week wait to secure a hospital bed, with Nicole paying for each day in the Costa Rican hospital. She arrived in Niagara just before Halloween, and a couple of weeks later, she had to have all her fingers and toes amputated.
I just want my life back. I want peace in my life.
In our next report, we hear from medical experts
and switch
about how medical tourism is a growing industry and what to be aware of. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Okay, we take a live look outside this hour from downtown Guelph as we approach the 6:30 mark on this Tuesday evening. Currently sitting at 2 degrees locally, well above seasonal for this time of year. Calm conditions now, but we are set to see some precipitation move in this week. Ashley will break it all down for us coming up in the full forecast. Also ahead. Thousands feared dead as people in Iran make contact with the outside world. The latest on the demonstrations and the crackdown coming up. And from threats to fights, the ways unruly airline passengers forced diversions and delays across Canada in 2025. All right. right, Ashley's back with a look at the full forecast now.
Yes.
Ash, mild temperatures out there even for this time of night in the middle of January.
Way more mild than we're used to. I mean, temperature day-wise, our normal for this time of year, Leanne, is -3, overnight low -11.
Well, I have a feeling we're going to be getting closer to that as the week goes on.
You are very right. Let's take a look outside. A very comfortable, very nice evening out in Guelph tonight. Thank you, Dave Pettit, our camera operator, bringing us this beautiful weather shot this evening. Lots of people still out and about. If you are headed out tonight, I would recommend maybe an umbrella or a jacket with a hood because there is some expected drizzle to occur over the next few hours. Now, temperatures, as Leanne just mentioned, have been considerably warmer than we've experienced over the last few months rather, and it will continue to be so for the next 12 to 24 hours, but really by tomorrow night, that's when the dip starts to take place. So make sure you get out and enjoy it now. Let's look at our futurecast. We start with Wednesday, 1 a.m. So we're going into tonight. We're going to see a little bit of drizzle, as I mentioned. Now, that's going to convert more into flurries as we get into the next couple of hours, or days rather. Into Thursday, we're going to see temperatures continue to fall, and it will mean more snow and flurries versus rain and drizzle like we saw. Let's look at temperatures across the country, starting on the west coast. In Vancouver, a very balmy 11 degrees, 2 in Edmonton, 10 in Calgary, 1 in Regina. However, in Winnipeg, -11. Thunder Bay, 1 degree. Very warm conditions for that far north this time of year. -13 in St. John's. Halifax sitting at a very comfortable 1. Here at home, 2 degrees still in Kitchener-Waterloo. So as I mentioned earlier, well above seasonal. Feeling a little closer to -4 because of the wind chill. There is a bit of wind gust happening overnight tonight, but mostly drizzle. Just expecting a low of 1. Tomorrow, conditions similar to today. A high of 0 is expected with around 2 centimeters of flurries. That's going to really start to take a nosedive tomorrow night. Right now, though, we're looking at a comparison of 2005, 14.9 degrees. Back in 2015, -25.2. So big swing in temperature there. What I really like on this board tonight, though, Leanne, sun setting at 5:09. So we're getting more and more sunlight every day. Okay, let's look at our 7-day forecast starting in Waterloo region. Look at overnight Wednesday. That temperature is going to go from a very comfortable 0 to -13, potentially feeling closer to -25 with wind chill. Thursday, similar, -10 for both your daytime high and overnight low. Temperatures will slightly bounce back by Friday, but with that brings some snowfall. In Lambton, Kent, Essex, similar there. You'll also have a big dip in temperature Wednesday overnight to -12. Thursday, -6 is a daytime high with flurries expected. Temperature bouncing back on Friday to 0 with snow. So those conditions very similar to what we'll feel here in Waterloo region. In southern Georgian Bay, also some flurries expected for your Wednesday, 2 to 4 centimeters. Overnight conditions dipping down to -15. Very cold there. If you are out, you're going to want to make sure you're dressed appropriately. Thursday, not much of a reprieve. -12 is the expected daytime high. That's going to stay for your day overnight low, and then by Friday still just -5 as a daytime high with snow. So Leanne, as I mentioned, it will continue to be colder and colder through Wednesday into Thursday, and then by Friday a little bit of a break, but we're really in the thick of winter now. Okay, let's take a look at today's Weather Watcher photo sent in by Emily, and I just love it. This picture looks like a perfect winter walk, and I love the combo of sun and snow. Thank you for sharing this, Emily.
Yes, this makes winter walks actually very enjoyable when you see the sun glistening down and highlighting the snow like that.
A little reminder that it does still, in fact, exist, the sun.
Yes, and it can be very enjoyable in the snow. All right, Ash, thanks.
Thank you.
For the first time in days, some Canadians have been able to speak by phone to loved ones in Iran, though internet remains cut off. This comes as regime officials say thousands have been killed in protests that have been met with brutal force. CTV's Heather Wright has the latest.
These are some of the images airing on Iranian state TV, which are said to show the aftermath of nationwide protests that have been met with brutal force. For the first time, authorities have given an overall death toll, 2,000 people killed, while also blaming the United States and Israel of inciting the protests.
The young one, they will participate.
Dr. Shahram Azam knows just how ruthless the Iranian regime can be. He was a doctor in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps when in 2003, the regime arrested Canadian photojournalist Zara Kazemi, who was later brought to his hospital. He says Kazemi was missing fingernails, had a broken nose, and her skull was fractured. There were also signs of rape. She later died.
There wasn't any chance it happens by accident. At least she was beaten, if not torture.
In 2005, Azam, his wife and daughter fled to Sweden and applied for asylum in Canada. In the 2 decades since he left, he's watched protests unfold in his home country, all met with brutal force. But he says these protests, happening in both big cities and small towns, feel different.
And I hope it's the end of this brutality, this regime, and these things happening to my people.
The extent of the protests and subsequent crackdowns in Iran are difficult to gauge as internet remains cut off and phone service is spotty. Protests have also spread to cities around the world, including here in Toronto, where this afternoon members of the Iranian community gathered outside the U.S. consulate. Today, U.S. President Donald Trump told protesters in Iran that help is on the way, but declined to clarify what that means.
Trump has vowed to intervene militarily on behalf of the protesters, encouraging them to keep demonstrating. While the U.S. had previously said they wanted to find a diplomatic solution, today Trump said all meetings with Iranian officials have been canceled. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
Restaurants rethink their strategies. Stella Head on CTV News. As thousands of eateries shut down, local establishments work to make sure they're not next. Spencer Turcotte will bring us that story coming up. Thousands of restaurants across Canada closed last year, and thousands more could go out of business this year. It has Waterloo Region restaurants looking for ways to ensure they're not next on the chopping block. CTV's Spencer Turcotte explains.
Franny's restaurant in Breslau is doing what they can to make sure the open sign remains.
I think that it's a fear. I'm in the middle of nowhere, but you still have that anxiety that it's out there, that businesses aren't where they used to be.
Those fears come as a new study shows 7,000 restaurants across Canada closed last year, and more than 4,000 could go out of business this year.
Probably the two biggest factors, though, are the increase in labor prices, labor costs, and the increase in the cost of food.
Southern Ontario is particularly vulnerable for restaurant closures because of just how many restaurants there are, especially chains.
These are restaurants that will be built and open when there's not necessarily demand in the community. They are sort of looking to take demand away and grasp a bigger share of the market because of their brand name, their consistent product, etc.
Franny's restaurant is in a unique position because it's a destination restaurant, not surrounded by much else. But that creates its own challenges and is why owner Fran is always making necessary tweaks.
Well, since we hit our January months, our hours get cut back. We cut back on our staff and we do skeleton staff in the wintertime.
She cuts costs by not hiring managers. She also does her own baking and doesn't outsource the sweet treats she sells.
Well, the food is good. I'm thinking I might be getting the butter tart on the way out.
So I'm here at silly hours of the night. I do my own freezer meals. And the majority of tables that come in here, they're grabbing frozen dinners on their way out. So that all helps because it's like having another table dining in your restaurant.
But chain restaurants continue to put pressure on the entire industry. McDonald's Canada announced today a one-year price freeze on its McValue menu, setting the table for a price war that a place like Franny's simply can't compete in.
And that sometimes forces an independent to price lower than the actual value of the meal they're putting forward.
We don't get to buy things in volume. So our bottom dollar that we are trying to make is harder to make than your franchises out there.
But Fran says the two most important ingredients in keeping her restaurant alive are food quality and customer loyalty. Spencer Turcotte, CTV News, Breslau.
Okay, let's update our top stories tonight with CTV's Alexandra Hollick live in studio with us. Alexandra, our top story tonight, Waterloo Region's water capacity crisis reaching new heights.
That's right, Leanne. It's put a major high-rise development in Kitchener on pause, and local developers are looking for answers. The region first raised the water capacity issue within the Mannheim service area last month. New developments, including one with nearly 1,000 units on Cortlandt Avenue, are paused for now until a solution is found. But developers are asking the region to act faster or risk damage to the local industry. Second-degree murder and attempted murder charges against Charles Barnes Fountain have been withdrawn. The charges relate to a double shooting in Cambridge back in November 2024. One man died, the other was taken to hospital with serious injuries. But in December, the Crown told the court they would not be able to disprove the man was acting in self-defense, so the charges were withdrawn. Barnes Fountain is subject to a 10-year peace bond.
And turning to our online coverage, our digital team has details about a sexual assault linked to an ad for a hypnosis study.
That's right, Leanne. A 28-year-old Brantford man was arrested this past Friday after a 19-year-old woman accused him of sexual assault. The woman told Brantford police she believed she was participating in a legitimate research experiment. When she got to the man's house, she says he engaged in, quote, inappropriate actions towards her. The woman was not physically injured, and the man was charged with one count of sexual assault. Police say they don't believe there are any additional victims. For more information on the story, you can visit our website by scanning the QR code or heading to ctvnewskitchener.ca. Leanne.
Okay, Alexandra, thanks so much. CTV's Alexandra Hollick with our top stories tonight. Instigating fights, uttering threats, and sneaking onto flights. Those are just some of the incidents reported to be caused by disruptive air passengers on Canadian flights last year. Here's CTV's Scott Hurst.
We're talking rage at cruising altitude and sometimes even before flights get off the ground. Canadian transportation authorities logged more than 100 reports of disruptive air passengers last year. The incidents caused numerous flights to be delayed, diverted, or turned back to the gate. In many cases, the passengers causing the disturbances were arrested or escorted off the plane by police. The 114 reports include a wide range of bad behavior, including refusing to return to a seat, vaping on board, uttering threats, assault, and indecent exposure, just to name a few. 45 of the 114 reports were filed by flights departing or arriving in Calgary, by far the most for any Canadian city. It is, as we know, a major WestJet hub, followed by Toronto with 27 reports and Vancouver with 21. In a statement, a WestJet and Sunwing spokesperson said the airlines have zero tolerance for this behavior. Air Canada tells CTV News the number of reported incidents is a small fraction of the millions of flying customers every year. The reports of bad behavior, however, are actually trending downwards over the past few years, but union reps for flight attendants tell CTV News cases of disruptive passengers often go unreported, depending on the severity of the incidents. Scott Hurst, CTV News, Toronto.
It's a creative twist on a classic tradition in Kitchener. Still ahead on CTV News, how a high school hockey game is showcasing school spirit and community support. The death of a controversial cartoonist and author to report today. Scott Adams, the creator of the popular comic strip Dilbert, had been battling an aggressive form of prostate cancer. He rode a wave of popularity for decades until racist comments were made about Black Americans. CTV's Adrian Gabriel on the man, his comic strip, and his legacy.
With comedic cynicism, it was a depiction of office culture that resonated with readers across the globe.
Luckily, everyone seems to be developing an immunity to the toxic environment.
At its height, Dilbert, the comic strip created by Scott Adams, had its own TV series. In print, the mouthless bee-speckled character appeared in 2,000 newspapers worldwide in at least 70 countries and 25 languages. Adams once told CTV News that his own years spent working in a cubicle as an office dweller was the catalyst for his comic.
I spent 16 years in cubicles, first at a big bank and then at the phone company for 8 years. I became more cynical, if that was even possible.
Decades of Dilbert also gave way to multiple books, though the laughs came to an abrupt halt in 2023.
I got a call from my syndication company, and they said, we can't do business with you. We're done.
Adams was dropped by some of the world's largest newspapers following a racist remark he made on his YouTube show where he referenced a poll that asked people if they agree that it's okay to be white, a phrase used by white supremacists. At the time, Adams insisted his comments were taken out of context, though he made no apology.
So Dilbert is now fully canceled.
Last year, Adams revealed he had prostate cancer that had spread to his bones.
So we'll see how far we get, okay?
Just last week, Adams appeared on his live stream for what would be his final public appearance.
This is going to be a tough week.
Early Tuesday, his ex-wife appeared on Adams' live stream to share the news of his passing.
But he's not with us right anymore.
Delivering one final written message left behind by Adams himself.
I had an amazing life. I gave it everything I had. Please know, I loved you all to the very end.
Scott Adams was 68 years old. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
More news ahead. First, over to Ashley.
Well, we're going to wake up to the warmest part of the day. Just how cold will it get? I'll have those details coming up. Lots of entertainment to be had tonight, starting with Best Medicine at 7, followed by Will Trent at 8, at 9, High Potential, and then cap your night off with The Rookie at 10.
Tonight, what Donald Trump is saying about Canadian cars and the trade deal.
Canada would love it. Canada wants it. They need it.
The U.S. president's latest shot and the reaction. Tonight on CTV National News and watch on Crave.
Bounce 99.5 has the music you just can't quit. Home of Bounce Mornings with Angie Hill and Sarge. KW's Bounce 99.5. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app.
Okay, let's check back in with Alexandra for a look at what our team is following as we head into tonight. Alexandra.
Leanne, we'll be taking a closer look at the series of robberies in southern Ontario, mainly targeting vape stores, including 5 right here in Waterloo region. 3 men were arrested and are linked to similar incidents in Guelph, Hamilton, London, and Niagara. CTV's Colton Weens will have that story, and we'll have more news later tonight at 11:30. Leanne.
Okay, Alexandra, thanks so much. We look forward to that. And Ashley, we will take one last check on the forecast. Of course, we started off the week pretty good conditions, honestly.
Not bad. Well, good news and bad news. Good news is that we're starting our morning off the warmest it's going to feel tomorrow.
Okay.
The bad news is it's the beginning of a little bit of a cold spell. Let's take a look at our board here, but not too bad when you're waking up at 6 a.m. You get a little bit of sleet, so there is going to be some mixed precipitation because we're hovering around that 2-degree mark. As we get closer to 10 a.m. and temperatures start to fall, we'll switch over to flurries. We're looking at a potential 2 to 4 centimeters tomorrow with the potential for a little bit more overnight Wednesday as temperatures take a nosedive.
Okay, if you're getting out for that morning walk, you got to make sure you got the winter boots on because boy, oh boy, is it ever slippery out there on city streets. I've really noticed it lately.
And it will continue to be a little bit slipperier tomorrow morning or afternoon rather, as temperatures drop, because if we're at 2 degrees, Leanne, and getting some sleet, that means it'll be wet conditions on our roadways and sidewalks. And that, as the temperature drops, of course, will freeze again with the salt shortage that we heard about last week. You know, it might be a little bit of a dicey walk tomorrow, so make sure you do take care.
Mother Nature in January, you gotta love it. All right, finally for us, a high school hockey game in Kitchener is turning a familiar sports tradition into a meaningful act of community support.
Love it. They're swapping stuffed animals for warm winter essentials. CTV's Hannah Schmidt has the story.
forget hats and teddy bears. On Tuesday, socks stole the spotlight at Kitchener's Grand River Arena. When the Grand River Collegiate Institute Renegades hit the ice against the Elmira Lancers Tuesday afternoon, the energy in the arena was about more than just the game.
I think this group of athletic leaders, they just have a really big heart, and I think that it's giving them those opportunities to really care for their community.
The matchup featured the school's first ever sock toss, a creative spin on the traditional Kitchener Rangers teddy bear toss.
We know a lot of bigger hockey teams do the teddy bear toss, and we know the socks are in very high demand right now, so we wanted to do a little twist to it for our Grand Rivers. So we did the sock toss.
As soon as the Renegades scored their first goal, hundreds of pairs of socks rained down onto the ice, not just in celebration, but in support of the community.
We love athletics with the hockey, and we have a really dedicated group of students who are really excited to give back to the community this year.
Around 1,200 socks gathered up by players and volunteers, then donated to Ray of Hope, an organization that helps individuals experiencing homelessness across Waterloo Region.
We want to do a little spin, did it for charity, so the Ray of Hope Foundation, we're donating socks for people in need in the winter.
We do many classes where we realize that many people do need help, and socks are definitely, and gloves are all with, especially with our cold winters that we have in here, and this all helps them.
The initiative was organized by Grand River Collegiate Institute's athletic leadership class, which focuses on using school sports as a way to give back. Earlier in the year, the same class led a food drive that collected more than 800 items for the Waterloo Region Food Bank.
We've done a couple things. We were really involved in a food drive, and we've also done some work with the Special Olympics, and I think those have been some of the most meaningful experiences for my students, and they've just loved getting involved with the community.
One goal, one toss, and a reminder that teamwork doesn't stop at the rink. Organizers hope the sock toss will become an annual tradition.
It's pretty great, and especially all the support we've had for the school. I mean, it's pretty unreal.
Hannah Schmidt, CTV News, Kitchener.
Okay, great stuff. Great to see the high schoolers with that community initiative and learning as they go about it, too.
And it really couldn't come at a better time. As we just saw, we are going to get really cold for the next few days. And I mean, unfortunately, folks out there need some warm items, and socks is a perfect option.
It certainly is. You can never have too many pairs of socks either, especially with these conditions.
Oh, yeah, you're going to want a double sock tomorrow night for sure.
Yeah, so as Ash said, temperatures, of course, dropping as we get into the middle of the week. Bundle up and stay warm out there. We will leave it there. CTV's Alexandra Hollick has your next local news tonight at 11:30. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 and 6. Take care. Have a good night.